I need to take lessons.
Yeah, sign me up too.
I have no filter.
Ready? Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Race Talk Live. We did this last year from our shop, my shop, the Bill Grit Racing Shop out in New Cambria. This year we've decided to switch it up, bring it back to Chuck's, and it's going to be bi-weekly. We need to talk to our producer over there a little later, Bobby, and see when the next show is going to be, though, because we're running into the Christmas and the Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, we are. It's holidays are coming up, and sure is a lot warmer here than in your place, I guarantee you.
Well, I can't get home and get the fire going quick enough, so I thought this would work out pretty good, and Rusty was great. We're at Chuck's Bar, 600. Come on down and join us anytime you'd like to. Be glad to have you. Our guest tonight's going to be none other than Mr. Brian Davidson. He's got lots of stuff to talk to us about, new class, new car, all kinds of fun stuff, huh, Brian?
Yes, sir. Excited about the new class.
Ought to be fun. You got some results from NASCAR because we're done racing dirt for right now, at least around here.
Yeah, we're going to go do a little pavement racing. And the Camping World Truck Series, we had Tyler Reddick finishing in the 5th spot, Matt Crafton, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, and Mr. Eric Jones, which was doing triple duty this weekend. He was a busy boy. The points after this weekend, Timothy Peters is 106 points out. Probably not.
Not going to happen.
He doesn't have it. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Johnny Sauter, 71 still. But here it gets a little interesting. Tyler Reddick's 21 out. Matt Crafton's only 17 out. And, of course, Eric Jones is leading the points in Camping World Truck Series. And
2 races to go there as well.
It's going to be a little tough. Yeah. Oh, Eric, he's a good little shoe.
He is.
He is. In the Xfinity class, Ty Dillon in 5th, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Kevin Harvick, and Brad Keselowski picked up the win there. And in the points, Elliott Sadler's 118 out, Reagan Smith 31 out, Ty Dillon 30. And then it gets Chase Elliott 24, Chris Buescher's leading the points there. So I don't know. 30 points is a lot to make up.
Yeah.
That's almost a whole race.
That's a race. Yeah, that's
almost.
tough.
So,
yeah, I don't
know. It's getting kind of tough.
I need to jump back to the truck series. Timmy Hill raced and struggled for speed all night, ended up a couple laps down, but still finished the race in 2 laps down. That's not bad for a team that's struggling for speed and low on sponsorship dollars.
That's right. And, you talk about Timothy Hill being a low-budget team. I'm not sure how his team is going into this weekend, but Rico Abreu is supposed to be in a truck this weekend at Phoenix.
Yep.
That'll be
good.
That'll be interesting to see how he's doing really good in the K&N series.
And Chris Bell gets a full-time ride with Kyle Busch Motorsports.
That's awesome.
Next year. That's Christopher Bell. We talked to him up at the Chad McDaniel Memorial Race, and coming out of the midgets in the sprint cars, and that's big news.
Did you watch him at Talladega in the trucks?
Yes.
He got scolded.
Yes.
He was bump drafting too long. He was, he got sent down pit row one time toward the end. Otherwise, he'd had a good finish.
Sure. So good, that's good news for guys that we've had a chance to visit with. Let's go on over to the NASCAR series, and Brian, you can jump in here anytime. We got some stuff to talk about here. This is going to be good.
Yeah, I know what we're going to talk about, I think. Carl Edwards in 5th. This is from Texas, by the way. Carl Edwards in 5th, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, and Jimmy Johnson, which Jimmy, I think, only led the only laps he led was like the last 5 laps.
I thought it was last 3, but yeah.
He got it could have been 3, but yeah, he got by Brad there for the win. And after Texas, the points go like this. Joey Logano, 69 points back. Kurt Busch, 34. Brad Keselowski, 25. Carl Edwards, 13 back. And then the top 4, Martin Truex Jr., 6 back. Kevin Harvick, 3. Kyle Busch, 2, and, of course, Jeff Gordon's going on to Homestead for the Final 4.
And you were probably the biggest Jimmy Johnson fan in the world this weekend, weren't you?
Yes, I was. They were probably trying to figure out how to blame Joey's flat tire on Matt Kenseth when he was sitting at home on the couch.
What do you think? Did NASCAR get it wrong or did they get it right?
They got it wrong.
They
They
told the
shouldn't.
guys, have at it.
Yep.
So Kenseth
And then-
has at it.
Yep. And then to have Brian France, you know, after the Kansas race, he said Joey Logano did a perfect. He did what he had to do. He took out one of his top contenders. I mean, that's what he needed to do.
So Kenseth did it?
And he took him out all right.
The problem-
He took him out of a chance to win the championship.
And that's the
And-
problem with NASCAR, and I think that's the reason why you're seeing a decline in ticket sales is because it's their sandbox, it's their playground, and
Yep.
they own the sand that goes in the sandbox,
That's right.
and they make stupid calls.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You see it in all brands of racing, dirt track, pavement racing, and all.
Yeah, I know.
You-
Judgment
you see
calls
it.
stink. They do, you know.
You see
And
it all, favoritism. And
But to sit a guy, you
2
know,
weeks, come on.
yeah, that was a little harsh.
Yeah.
And to never, you know, no, they never sat anybody out.
How
for
many
that.
people
Just-
did Dale Earnhardt take out?
He took, yeah.
I mean, he spun guys coming to the
And-
win.
Yeah, and he never missed a race.
They never
And of
parked
course,
him.
In the same race, Danica Patrick took David Gilliland
They just
out,
fined her money.
and yeah,
She's a
and
girl.
she didn't have
She's
to
a
sit
girl.
out.
That
She
makes a
did.
difference. I believe it's the name above the door. I really do. Kenseth isn't a local boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would hate that they would do that, especially in this sport. You know, not only do you have to bring talent with you, you have to bring a boatload of money
Oh,
when you
yeah.
go. And
Yeah.
we're not talking a couple $1,000 here. We're
No.
talking millions.
yeah,
You
that's
know?
right.
The sponsorship package these guys have to bring with them is crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't think
And-
the racing's so good anymore.
And-
Do you like this?
Well, I mean, it causes a lot of drama, and I think people like drama sometimes. But I've been a NASCAR
I'd like to learn
fan.
to live without drama.
I've been a NASCAR fan for a long time, and
Well, me too.
it came really, really close to after they suspended Matt for 2 races, and I'm not a huge Kenseth fan, but after they set him for 2 races, I just almost didn't turn on the TV,
Yeah.
but I did.
I don't think it's fair.
And then it made my day on the 10th lap. Had a flat and went 60-some laps down.
Wasn't that cool?
So
Yeah,
he's got his
awesome.
work cut out for him now. Yeah.
You know, I still don't understand it because they tell them, you know, like I said earlier, boys have at it.
Yep.
So when they do that,
Yep.
then they retaliate with this.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know.
did you hear the people hooting and hollering when Matt did it? He made a bunch of fans. in
Oh
Martinsville.
boy. Yeah.
You know, and when he comes back, you wait to hear the fans cheer at
Yeah.
Homestead.
Yeah,
This ought to be
he's-
good.
Yeah. It'll be exciting.
They got it wrong, my book.
I think they did too.
All right.
Hey, I dialed up Speed Shift TV last weekend and watched the races from Canyon Raceway Park. All the guys are down there in Arizona racing, getting ready to go to the Duel in the Desert here coming up this weekend. And Kyle Strickler ended up third in the feature there, along with Jesse Sobbing in second, and Ricky Thornton Jr. picked up the win, picked up $5,000 on
There
his
you
way
go.
to Vegas.
On his
So
way to Vegas, that'd be a good money in
good
his
little
pocket.
payday there. And they did a different type of format that I've seen on a dirt track for a long time. The first night they came out and ran time trials. Took the top. There was like 43 cars there or something like that. Anyway, they ran 2A features based off of your time, and then took the top 6 out of each one, made it to the A, and then everybody ran a B and a C, and you worked your way up. So, hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Stay out
You're
of the
like
way of the
standing
camera.
right. Wave to the people, Chris.
Wave to the people that are looking at you there. Chris Humphreys photobombs us tonight. Come on, sit down. You can sit there. We don't
You're
care.
Move that jacket. He'll be all right.
Um,
You can move my jacket.
I've had the opportunity to work with Chet Christner with Speed Shift TV, and of course now
Oh, yeah.
there's also MAV TV, the other one,
Race Speed X.
Race Speed X. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've worked with both of
They're
those
the-
guys. They're a good group of guys.
They're the Race Feed X is the ones that are doing the Duel in the Desert here
Yeah.
this weekend in Las Vegas, and been seeing a lot of the hometown guys that are going. I know all the extreme guys are going. Mike Petersilly and Jesse Richter and Tanner Black and Brendan Damon I know is going. Tyler Fry and
Blocklinger.
Brandon Blocklinger on their way
Jeff
down
Cyphers hauled those guys.
there. You got
Jordan
second.
Grabowski was
Yep,
second.
which were
And
teammates.
both teammates. Yep. I don't know who owns those cars, whether it was Terry or Jordan.
Not sure.
But they're teammates. They were GRT cars, and I knew they were grinding on them. They had to do some fixing.
Yeah.
So,
GRT
Brian,
had a little issue.
let's talk about your season coming up. What are you thinking? What do you got? Might as well let them know.
Not for sure. Haven't found out what's going on with the racetrack out here for sure. Kind of waiting to see what happens there.
Sure.
And,
You got a new car.
Yeah, I got a new car. Bought a brand new car. Couldn't afford a brand new one. Got a 13 BMS by Extreme car. So looking forward to doing some traveling. Going to try to make it the Super Nats next year and up at Boone, and going to go have fun.
You got your car from Clay Money. How'd you get hooked up with Clay?
Hold that up for me.
I'd met him before and talked to him a little bit, and I knew he had a car that just set up in the top of the trailer. He was running a GRT, and the BMS just sat there. So it was a nice, straight, clean car. So I talked to his dad on the phone, and when it came up for sale, I talked to Brandon about it, and he knew it was coming up. So anyway, I got hooked up with him and started talking to him, and worked out a deal within a day. I'd bought it. And I had to hang on to it for about 4 or 5 races so he could finish out the end of the year, and kind of kept it under our hats. We didn't really want nobody knowing that I'd got it, and they wanted to kind of hang on to it and have a backup. So I bought some extra parts, a carburetor and transmission and stuff, and that's all in Las Vegas with him right now, trying to help him, finish. If he needs it, he can use the parts.
Good.
So.
I've known Doug and them for a while now, and I know he always keeps his cars up nice, so I think you got you a pretty good piece.
They are really good people. I wished I'd have known them sooner. I mean, but Doug's great people, and Clay's good, and Mom's great. So when I went to pick it up, I spent about 2 hours out there, me and Danny Morrison Sr. just talking, and looking things over. And since then, I've been on the phone with him 20 times probably, and he tells me everything and asks me and stuff.
What'd you think of it?
I liked it a lot. I liked it. Track was a little rough for the heat race, bobbleheaded, and but Tyler Fry said it's one of the roughest tracks he's been on, and for a national champ to tell you that makes you feel a little better about not going out and winning the heat. So in the B feature, I made the B feature. I started 14th, and there was 22 cars in that, and they were taking the top 6 out of that, and I got all the way up to 6th place, and ended up breaking a right rear rake line, and didn't finish. 3 or 4 laps to go.
We talked about that. You and I talked about that before the show. You broke you stomped on the brakes. He broke a braided steel brake line.
Yeah, braided steel brake line.
You seen that happen before?
Not very often, but sometimes when the tracks, if it was rough, it probably had a lot of bite in it. And when you get on the brakes real hard, the car's going to have more stopping power. And
yeah, in my Mod Light, I put electric power steering in it, so you always had power steering. But in these sport mods, if you're not revved up, the power steering is really sluggish and stiff. And 2 jack wagons kind of got sideways in front of me under yellow. And so I didn't want to – I knew I wasn't going to be able to turn and miss them, so I jammed on the brakes really hard. So
that's too bad.
One of those things.
You've been in a Mod Light, I think, ever since I've known you. I mean, ever since they started the class just about. And stepping up, other than the seat, is there anything that switches over?
The suspension's all the same. It's all 2-link.
Okay.
Your panhard bar and your pull bar, everything's kind of the same. Similar.
Just a little bigger, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot bigger, and everybody always asks me, said, you raced the late model. How'd that feel? Well, it was like riding a pontoon boat, and I'd been racing a jet ski because it didn't react near as fast. The sport mod's real similar. The major difference between a sport mod and a late model was you can't point the tires in the direction and just punch the gas. You've got to baby it like you do a Mod Light a little bit. So it's going to be different, I think. It's going to take me getting used to the big car. The fitting in the spots, on a normal Salina Speedway, you can fit 5 Mod Lights wide going down the front stretch, and you can only fit 3 sport mods. So it's a little intimidating on the passing part of it, but I seem to pick it off and do pretty decent at it. I'm just going to have a learning curve.
Good.
They used to tell me if the hood will fit, the fenders will follow.
Yeah, well, I've been up the left side of my sport mod first night out. A guy came in and he hit my left rear quarter and I tried to be nice and step off and let him go and passed him again 3 and 4, got 1 and 2, and he straight up doored me. So I brake checked, and when we got to 3 and 4, I laid the bumper on him. And you don't do that in a mod light. You don't lay the bumper on somebody. The short wheelbase, you'll flip and turn and bust. So that was nice. I enjoyed being able to do that, and him looking out the window at me going, Jesus, what was that for? But, it's just going to take a while for us to fit in and find my niche in life and in that area and fit in there.
A little different racing, then maybe a little more door-to-door, a little more rubbing here and there.
Yeah, I ran the same body on my mod light for 2 years and never had a problem, and put this body on this year, and it was perfect. There wasn't even a dent in it hardly. But this sport mod, we're already talking about making extra doors and quarter panels. And
I was going to say, not to say anything bad about the sport mod class, but you probably won't go 2 years with the same body.
Yeah, we're starting to round up parts for front end, and I understand it's going to be a little rougher. I don't plan on driving anybody rough, but I understand as a class, it's going to be a little rougher class, and that's fine. We'll figure it out.
There's a wide variety of talent there, a wide variety of experience, and so you're going to be racing with all kinds of guys, from the who knows where Tyler Fry is going to end up. Maybe he'll be in an A mod, but he could show up in a sport mod again, and then you'll have guys that are just starting out all over again. And it's the way it works. So work your way to the front. You know who you can race with.
There's a lot of the really good ones talking about leaving. Clay Money's supposed to go to an A mod, but his mom wants him to stay in a sport mod. Tyler Fry was supposed to skip out, there was 3 or 4 of them, the big guys saying, yeah, we're going to go out, but I don't know.
I think for Tyler to do it, he's going to have somebody get him a car.
It's a big step,
it's a huge
big step.
It's going to cost a little bit for him to switch, yep.
He was fast when he drove Dave Murray's car out here and hot lapped it the same night I hot lapped my sport mod. But convincing somebody that he can do it is another thing,
Yeah.
Tyler's a good shoe. He's been at it a long time, and seen him make a lot of laps in a lot of different kinds of cars. He's drove Delbert's late model and done good in that. And
he's not afraid of anything. That's for sure.
No, he's not.
No,
he's
just like you. You've driven a late model. You've driven some other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't go to the late model class.
No. Too much money. Too much money, Bill.
A whole lot more fun.
Yeah, it just didn't fit me. That was a big car, and I enjoyed the racing. I raced with it. I enjoyed Danny Hill giving me the chance to do it. Something I always want to do on my bucket list, and I still want to hot lap an A mod. Junior, if he didn't have such a scrawny little butt, I'd get in his seat. But where's a 14 seat, man? And my 17 big butt doesn't fit in there. And so, yeah, one day I'll find one I can fit in. I can hot lap.
There you go. I've tried a modified years and years and years and years ago, but I don't know.
I just want to hot lap. I don't want to race it. I just want to hot lap it. I know I'm not, Dan Lee Morrison caliber driver, Brandon Blocklinger, Dave Murray, Corey LeGroom. Those,
but you could be.
And Brian Nell. Those, yeah,
you could be.
You got it and you don't got it. Those guys got it, and maybe some night they ain't got it, but 90% of the time those guys are on fire. And Tyler Fry, he's on fire in a sport mod, all the time. And I'm too competitive to go out there and run second, third, fourth place every night. I want a chance to win, and I don't know how some people do it. I'm just not wired that way.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Did you buy the car turnkey?
Yeah.
Are you going to run the crate?
Yeah, I bought it turnkey with a crate, and I got a 750 and a 650 carburetor, and running the Brashaw automatic transmission Power Glide. So, I'm making some changes to it, and I'm going to rip the rear end all apart in it this winter, and found a couple other things I want to look into and check out on the car, and make sure everything's good for next year, so hopefully we can finish some races.
That'd be good. You'll have fun in it, I know.
Yeah, this year kind of was rough because I'm used to racing 40 to 50 races a year, and this year I raced 8 races.
Really?
Total in the Model I, yeah. And my little guy is doing horse showing, and so that kills my weekends.
Okay.
And with the Mod Lights, it wasn't open to race hardly anywhere else around. It was either here on Friday night or, somewhere else in Nebraska or something on the weekend, and there's no Wednesday, Thursdays, none of that racing, that goes on with the IMCA.
Right.
So I needed some more options, and Sport Mod was my option.
And your little guy's done pretty good with that horse stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done really good.
And racing is a family thing. I mean, it's all about the family.
Yeah. My oldest one, 13, 14, he's into it. He gets it. But the little guy right now, he's like, I don't care about racing, kind of like Mama.
Yeah. Rather do the horse thing, and that's okay too.
Yeah. Mama supports me in racing, and she likes it I race, but it takes time away from Mama, so you know how that goes. Not the best.
Yeah.
Do your kids do any kinds of sports?
Oh yeah,
football and all that too. Yeah, school stuff.
My oldest, he's a football player, and he's basketball kind of. He plays B and C team. He's not real superstar in basketball, but he's a superstar on the wrestling mat and the track. He runs good track, so he enjoys that, and I just tell him to have fun.
Sounds like a pretty good little athlete.
He's a pretty good little kid.
Yep. Good.
So he has Tourette's, which is tics. And they say with Tourette's, they tend to do really good in athletics because their muscles are continuously working all the time.
Really?
So it's a benefit.
So it helps him?
It helps him.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't
either. Brian, I met you, a long, long time ago. If I remember right, you actually started helping, if I got this right, and you correct me, you actually started helping Bobby Arnold.
Way back when, yes, the old A55.
Yes, and then you got into a little front-wheel drive car. How many years ago was that?
I helped Bobby Arnold for years there with the super stocks.
Right.
Back when Morrison and all those guys were racing, and we had a lot of fun with that. And then I got to helping Dustin Hill with I built bodies for him in the A-Mod and the late model when he was doing that, and then I got kind of burnt out and I just got away from it. And in 06 I started racing the front wheel drive sport compacts with my little 3-cylinder car in the 4-cylinder class. Yeah, that sucked.
It was either blue or gray.
That was you in the Geo at Minneapolis, huh?
Yeah,
it smoked
too. Old Super Dave, he threatened to disqualify me the first night I showed up to Salina because he said that car's black and it says in the rules no black cars. I said that car's not black, and he walked over and he looked at it and he said the car's black. Don't lie to me. I said the car's not black. You look at it really good. He looks at it and he says, that is the darkest green metallic I have ever seen in my life. I said, yes, sir, it is. It's not black. And he still laughs about it. So pushing the rules even then.
Super Dave is out in Vegas. We'll see what he does, see if he makes anybody fix their cars again this year.
I bet he does.
He likes to hear grinders roaring in the pits. He does.
No,
it started.
No, I know you're talking about the GRT thing. I think they
got that fixed.
They got that fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, but his comment last year was, "You hear all those grinders?"
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's things they've got to fix, and they know that there are things to fix. They just got to figure out how to do it all.
Yeah.
Ignition wise and stuff like that. I mean, the old ignition box, you could in the A-Mod, you could put a chip in, fire the car up, pull the chip out, and put the weaker chip in.
And it'd run to the other chip.
And it'd run to the chip you put in there to start the car up with. And then as you finish the race out, we had this, they shut their car off and fired it back up at the scales. And they said, what do we do? We bring them on the front straightaway and shut them all off and turn them back on to eliminate that problem or what? Well, then they came out with, we'll just take them and start making, their boxes. They have to be, if they have the old style box, they have to get it updated and checked out. And we've seen some of this old-style box problem, but, if there's a desire to cheat, it's going to happen no matter what.
We're always pushing the envelope, I think. I don't know, Bobby. What do you think about cheating? I mean, I know pushing the envelope. I get that, and bending the rules and doing what you can, but...
Yeah, and I'm, you talked about having Dave Brin there, teching cars. I like having him there.
I do too.
I mean, I like having him tear cars apart. I
We're
just do it every week. I mean,
we're all looking for an even playing field. That's all we want.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for in the sport mod. The mod light. There's so many. There's 4 kinds of motors. There's so many little things to tech that the average common person doesn't know what to even look for.
Honestly, I think the 2 toughest classes to tech would be the Mod Light and the Sport Compact.
Yeah. There's so many variables in that class. And when I sat down years ago and talked to IMCA about taking up the Mod Lights, and I was really pushing for the IMCA to pick it up, their question was, well, we don't understand nothing about this. You got to run motorcycle motors. You do this, you do that. And we had all the different weight classes at that point in time. And then Stars came on last year, and I don't know, they lost it, but they came up with this great idea of making a stock and a spec motor weigh the same weight and just going to go one weight class all the way through. And IMCA is they're trying to get IMCA to buy into it, but I don't think that it's going to ever happen because IMCA's got too many things going on, and it takes so much to get a class accepted. I ran front-wheel drive sport compacts. There was 56 drivers in 2007 when we raced at Minneapolis Speedway. I finished second in points there. When in 2008, there was 57 drivers, different drivers in that class, and that was the year I won the championship. And I told them, I said, I'm out of this class. Well, in 2009, IMCA took over, and there was 25 drivers.
What happened?
Well, when you're taking an entry-level class and you make them buy a driver's license and go all through all these rules, and all these seat belts have to be up to within 3 years because we were using 5-year-old seat belts in some of those cars that were in great shape.
Sure. But then they got to buy race receivers, which all that stuff little adds up.
Yeah, your race receivers.
You guys were only running for a trophy back then.
Exactly.
Too,
You're running for a trophy, and you're not running for money. And,
Yeah.
and everybody and their dog wanted to do it. It was a lot of fun. It was an entry-level class. And when IMCA kind of took over the front-wheel drive sport compacts, it defeated the purpose of entry-level to a lot of people.
Back to your deal with the Mod Lights having the 2 different motors, do you feel did they get it right? I mean, are they pretty equal, or is one better than the other, you think?
On a national level, I think they screwed up. I think they're going to hurt themselves in the long run because some of these guys that make up the rules for the Stars, the national rules, some of the motor builders came in and said, hey, we can't carry all the parts to make these 1070s and make these spec motors, so why don't you just make it all a spec motor? And, we'll cut you some motor deals if you'll let the spec motors weigh the same as a stock motor, and everybody will come and want to buy our motors because they'll see that a stock motor can't really, compete when you're gaining extra horsepower and extra torque on a spec motor on E85 that's all tuned and everything. So the guys making up the rules kind of shot themselves in the foot when they said, oh, yeah, you can weigh the same weight. They've kind of leaned the rules kind of towards it favors a spec motor.
Really? I got to commend, IMCA. I know they worked on it a long time to get where they're at now with your sport mod class having the open motors and the crate motors. I think they've done a fantastic job.
It's really close. It's really competitive.
It really is. And it's something they're going to have to figure out. And, whether it's 25 pounds or it's 10 pounds or it's 50 pounds, that's something they're going to have to figure out. And it's a hard variable to determine when you've got a really good racer driving a stock motor and a guy that's not quite as good running a spec motor, and they're running on even playing field. Or you got a guy in a really good stock and a guy that sucks in a spec, and he's outrunning the spec motor. It doesn't look very good. I mean, you've got to compare apples to apples and put the same caliber of a driver in both,
right,
to figure it out.
Yeah,
and that's a tough thing to do. In the A mods right now, we see the crates winning, a lot of crates winning. But if you look, the problem is all the big names, Sabin, Grabowski, all the big names are in crates. There's no big names running open motors right now. But when you see like the clash that happened out here at Salina, dry slick track, and the crate was dogging out of the corner, just not pulling. There was Dave Murray in an open motor just walking the dog on him.
Yeah.
And we've back in the Bobby Arnold days, we looked at it and we said, oh, it's a heavy track, we need more motor. Heavy track, we need more motor. Well, I think with the gearing and the shock setups now to where we can time our shocks and make things work right, and more of our, back when we were doing that, we were drag racing. We were just bobbling through the corner and pulling them down the straightaway. Back in the Dustin Hill days, when I was helping him, we were pulling them out of the straightaway. Now we've made the race happen more in the corners. Yep. And so these crate motors have came up to it, and they're the thing. They're working great. But when you get on a dry slick track and they dog coming out of the corner, those guys eat them up, the big motor, if they got a foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you'll probably start seeing this open motor in the deal kind of move back that general direction slowly.
I know it definitely helped the open motor guys because I think they're spending less money because they know they don't need
all that horsepower.
they don't need the horsepower, so I think they're spending a little less money, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. Then,
I mean, there were days, and there probably still are. You would know more than I would about this in the modified class. You know, there were days when they were running 421s and stuff like that.
We got a brand spanking new fresh one sitting on the floor, ready to go, and it's just sitting there collecting dust.
Oh, a brand new fresh engine?
Yeah.
Open?
Yeah.
Still going to stay with the crate, huh?
Yep.
I got a small block 406 sitting on the floor I'm trying to sell.
I seen that.
Yeah.
And any calls on that?
It's a smoking motor. A guy in Texas called me, and he's really interested in it. But he says down there they run 406, 412s, 427s. I was like, what? And he's like, 427s. And, he's really interested. If he could get up here from Texas, he said it was a smoking deal on it because to simulate that motor is $9,000. And $4,500
You're asking
motor.
$4,500 for it. I saw that, too. It was pretty cheap. So get a hold of this, guys. If you know anybody looking for an engine, it's going to go pretty quick. $4,500 for a good piece is relatively inexpensive.
But before the crate days, that motor wouldn't have been sitting there 5 minutes.
No.
Been gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But everybody going to the crates, it's kind of leaning back that way,
Yeah.
Crates. What's a crate up to now, Bob? 53 or?
Well, they're 57.
57?
56, 57.
For the 604.
Yeah.
Yeah, 57.
Yeah, 35 for the 602.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you look at the mod light thing, and I figured the question's going to come up. Why'd you pick a sport mod? Well, I look at the mod light thing, and the last 2 races of the year out here, we had a E85 motor in. I'd bought basically a spec E85, and they're high dollar motors. So you spend $6,000 to $8,000 on an E85 motor, let's say. Every 27 races, you have to tear that motor down and rebuild it.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Because E85 is terrible hard on fuel systems. And it's just hard on stuff. You need new bearings. You need all that stuff done. And you're still changing oil every 3 races. But, you run 27 races on a $6,000 to $8,000 motor, racing for $250 to win.
Were you
at the Salina Speedway? Now, if we take the sport mod and we look at the same deal, we're looking at 200 races. Maybe Nate Guinness has got on that old motor he's running, still winning with it.
Yeah.
I talked to Nate Denner one night. He said, it's got a ton of races on it. Motor's still running great. That's awesome. $3,500 motor, 200-something races for $300 to win.
Yeah.
Where's the pencil leniency?
Yeah.
That's right.
When you're running 2 mod lights, you can run 1 sport mod a lot cheaper.
Yep.
And take care of the hassle.
Were you able to work on your stuff yourself, your mod light motor?
We did quite a bit of work ourselves. I did all my own motor installs and everything, and I was lucky enough to have a really good sponsor to help me with all that, Zach Barta, owned Outlaw Cycles here in town. He works for me now. He's my handyman, but he did all our motor work and stuff on that and kept us going. And like I said, those 285 motors, I bought them out of Iowa. Guy was going into Gixxers and didn't want these ZX10s laying around, and I got a smoking deal on buying both of them, so I bought them. And we wondered what the difference really between the two was, and it's night and day. E85 is awesome, but it's tons of maintenance, and you get 10% more torque. It's really a good thing in the Mod Light. The E85 is good.
A lot of guys talk about the crate motors in the sport mods or the modifieds, and my biggest concern, or I guess I like about them, is the maintenance. You could spend way more time working on the car, tuning on it rather than working on the motor stuff. You just change oil in it every little bit.
And run the valves, once a month, maybe, depending upon how
Yeah.
many times you race?
Are you supposed to do that?
Yeah, I figured that'd be Bobby's answer.
But they say you can run E85 in a sport mod. I'm not going to do it because I don't want the hassle and the maintenance. We take our carburetor. He runs alcohol on the A mod, Danny Lee does, and we take that carburetor look, and everything inside there is chalked up because of the alcohol.
Because the alcohol, sure.
And no longer than we've ran E85 in our mod lights, we've already had a fuel pump go bad, and I can't blame it necessarily on the E85, but I can say that it probably helped.
It's very hard on stuff. It is. Alcohol. You guys run yours on alcohol?
Yeah. Yeah.
Step up your maintenance as far as oil changes go, don't you? No?
We've been going.
Maybe I'm asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I run it four nights, and then change the filter, and then I'll run it 2 more, and then change oil. So change oil every 6 shows. I mean, we run Mobile One.
Mobile One.
So I mean, we haven't had any trouble.
Run nice and cool in June, July.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the advantage right there
About
with
10
with
degrees
alcohol.
cooler.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
more horsepower. It adds about 50 horse, 45, 50
Something
horse.
like that. Yeah.
But your main thing with alcohol is to make sure you have a good carb guy. Because if he gets your jetting right on your carb, you're not washing cylinders down, you're not destroying stuff. And
Yeah, I learned that the
always
hard
feel-
way. Alcohol can go lean really bad, really quick, and really hurt things
Yeah.
really
You
fast.
can tear stuff up. But, I mean, gas, you lean something out on gas, too. I mean, it burns hotter,
yeah.
so it's gonna do the same thing. So
It seems
it's
to me
just
that alcohol does it quicker.
quicker.
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, it
From
is
my experience, that's all I'm going to tell you, okay?
alcohol is cheaper, but at the same time, you burn twice as much product.
You know, and the thing that I've learned in racing, and this had to be taught to me by Denny Prothrow a long time ago, the fuel you put in that race car is the cheapest thing you're going to put in it. So you better buy good stuff.
Yes.
And in my crate engine, I run good fuel.
Yeah.
I tried running cheap alcohol one time when I was running alcohol stuff, and I paid the price for it dearly. I'll never, ever do that again. Never.
Yeah.
Yep, that's one thing you don't want to cheapen up, really. I mean,
You don't ever want to cut corners on your safety equipment or your fuel.
Nope. That's 2 things.
No. You can cut corners on anything else, doesn't matter. Not your safety equipment or your fuel. And I finally bought me a full containment seat this year.
Good man. What brand?
Kirky.
Kirk.
I've never had one before.
Me
I didn't even
either.
have one in the late model last year.
Me either. I bought it and it was in there.
It was in the car. What brand's yours?
Butler
Butler?
built.
That's
Yeah.
a good seat.
they left the seat in it for you?
Oh, yeah. It's turnkey.
Wow.
Seat belts, everything.
Cool.
I think it had a battery in it too, Bob.
It was
Yeah.
ready to go racing.
Battery,
huh?
everything. I fired it right up. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who buys a car like that?
That's the
I'm
way to
telling you,
do
they're
it.
good people.
Brian did.
That's the way to
Good
do it.
people.
What's the number going to be on it?
We're not going to be $7 bill.
You're not?
We'll be B55. I mean, you know, I used to help Bobby the A55, and I became the B55 years ago, and
In the Geo that smoked.
yeah, it smoked. You know, I carried an extra engine for that thing in the toolbox, and Dave didn't believe me. And he caught me one night sliding. I blew up, and he come over and he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm changing the motor." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "45 minutes. I have this done." And I lifted it out by myself, no engine crane. I was sitting on the ground, and walked over the toolbox on the back of the flatbed, over up, and reached in there, and pulled another one out. And he goes, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "Nope, there it is, dude." Had her bolt in. 45 minutes later, he was on the track, and you know.
That one was the smokingest thing I'd ever seen.
You know, I don't know which motor that was. I sent one up to Jason Backus one night, and I was going to have the head shaved. You know, I was going to try to get a little more oomph out of there, get up with them 4-cylinders, and he fell asleep on the mill and ended up 60 thousandths over, and I had to run pure race fuel in that thing just to get it to run, and run third place. It blew up one night, bad. It was fun.
Fell asleep at the mill.
He did. He told me, he said, "I fell asleep at the mill at 60 thousandths, took off instead of 30." I was like, man.
Run, though.
Yeah, if you had race fuel in it, but if you didn't,
I was going to say, you better have some good fuel with that.
110 octane. It'd turn over and fire up. Sounded great. But
We used to take bets to see how long it'd last with the way it was smoking.
yeah.
We kind of got spoiled back then, didn't we? Having 2 tracks this close together. And
Yes.
Yeah, that
and
was nice.
I you know, we all as a group, I know we bitched and moaned and cried and whined about the stuff that happened, and we were always getting screwed about this and that.
Yep.
But hindsight 2020, we should have kind of shut our mouth and enjoyed the
Yep.
ride, and we should have worked harder as a group to get the two to work together on the same page and support each other.
That's right.
And do a kind of a points thing between the 2 tracks. So I tried it here a while back with Mayetta, and I don't think it worked out very good.
No.
No, it didn't work out so good.
It would be amazing to have 2 tracks as close as Salina and Minneapolis were to work together, and set up a points fund. If you race Salina this night, you get so many points, and and you get a chance to start here or there and race Minneapolis the next night, and flip flop it back and forth and have a points fund for the whole group combined. I think that would promote our sport a lot.
Brian, do you think social media's hurt our sport as well too?
I think crying, whining, and Facebook's killed our sport. I mean, I really do. I mean, you look at all the stuff that's popping up on Facebook every day in and day out, and some of it is self-inflicted. We go, the people aren't showing up to our track. They're not doing this. Well, what did you say on Facebook here a while back about them, or what did you say here or there? And sometimes we get a thin skin, and we're all worried about what everybody else thinks and what else is going on and what they're talking about, instead of just saying, consider the source and go on. And I think sometimes we comment on stuff that we should just let go, because it's not going to benefit anybody to comment on it.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. And, as a business owner, I try to decide on what to talk about and what not to. And there's stuff that goes across my page. Sometimes I'm like, man, are you serious? I know that guy. He's a tool bag, but he's doing work at your house. But you don't dare get on there and tell him that. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But if I get on there and say it, I'll probably never ever work at their place again because I called them out on it,
Yeah.
So, it's a tough deal. I kind of hope that Minneapolis opens up one day. I mean, they cleared out half the bleachers. It's perfect for a concession stand.
It's going to be tough, with half the bleachers gone now. I don't know.
Perfect for a concession stand.
They've got a concession stand there.
Well, we need an inside one with a big screen TV so the preppies can watch it from the inside. Don't get dirt in their nachos.
I hope somebody picks that place up.
I do too.
I do.
I mean, it's not. I've been by there a couple times, and it's not as far gone as Salina was when Tommy brought it back, but
it's getting there.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we fled the market. Look at Belleville, High Banks. We bitch and moan that they only race a few races a year, but look how many people show up.
Yeah.
Salina Speedway runs every single week. How many people show up?
Yep.
If he, when we were first into this class, we wanted to race everywhere we wanted to. I mean, any place that had a place to race, we wanted to get in there. We wanted to go racing. And as we get older and we get families, and families want to do stuff, we realize that that we can't race every weekend. And if we had raced every other weekend, it'd be awesome. And the guys that want to race every weekend, they're more than willing to travel and go some other places.
I'm like you. I see that on Facebook a lot and stuff, and everybody's racing here and there and everything else, and it's like, okay, you're young or you don't have a family.
Yeah.
You can do that. I don't have. I mean, my family's grown. Don't want to say I don't have a family, but there's other things that people want to do too as well. It's life, and some of us live and breathe racing and passionate about it, and I am. But I still like to go to the lake every once in a while.
Oh yeah, I love to go watch racing or be in it or whatever, and it's hard to do that when your family's sitting there going, let's go to the lake, let's go do this, let's go do that, or we got horse show or we got ball games, and the fans, they've got stuff going on too. They can't stand to be there every single week, but if they know you're on every other week, they're going to schedule, by God, to be at the racetrack and go to the lake every other week. And in the long run, it's going to make your fan base more appreciative of what you got. Prime example, Harley Davidson years ago, you had a 6-month waiting period to get a bike. The prices were high. They were in high demand. Now they flooded the market. You can go in the store and buy anyone and everyone you want. The prices are way down, and you can't hardly give them away.
Speaking of Harley Davidsons, he rode his motorcycle, and he's giving me a hard time because I didn't ride mine tonight. It's cold going home.
A little bit of a problem I see with running every other week is you have 7 classes of cars. What do you do with 7 classes?
7 classes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Don't you guys go talking about getting rid of classes, because the first one they usually talk about is mine, the late models,
yeah.
So we don't want to do that either.
And I think they could run them. That's not a problem, but we really need to, and don't get me wrong, because Auto House Towing does a phenomenal job with what we got. But when you go to like Boone and you watch Boone, they got a big, high loader, and I mean,
just pick them up and go.
When you come out on the track, there's no screwing around. There's no 5 yellow laps to get your stuff lined up and wind up. It's no crybabies. I'm sorry if you can't get your stuff to the track and get out here and race. And when somebody spins out, I'm sorry if you have to drive through them to keep going, because if you're stopped under the yellow, you're going to the pits. it's not very economical for the racer, but at the same time, it keeps the flow going. And if we spend out here till 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning at some of these tracks, like I go to Nebraska and race, if I'm up there till 2 o'clock in the morning, I got a 3-hour drive home, I can't go to work the next day.
You ever race for C-Ray?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I race C-Ray a lot, and I like the guy. It's
I
great.
like
I wished I could go down there and race more.
He's got it figured out. Point being, I was messing around one day trying to get fuel in my race car. They were calling for hot laps. I was like, oh, gosh, I got to get this done. Pulled up there to go hot lap. Everybody else was out on the track. I pulled up there. The guy looked at me and he said,
Ain't happening.
not happening.
Yeah.
You're too late.
We're not going to wait on you.
Go back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now if you're in a sport mod, they tell you, hey, the A-mods are coming here in just a minute. If you want to hop out there with them,
Yeah.
your own judgment.
Yeah.
But, yeah. C-Ray told me last year, when I was down there racing, he said, if you come down here and support us and you get us a 10-car average, I'll make it worth your while. And he did. I went down there every week. We had a 12 to 13-car Mod Light average. At the end of the year, he gave me a $250 pit pass to use this year, and I used it. And I was kind of sad that I couldn't go down there and race with him more because the guy really did take care of me and do good and did what he said. And it was nothing against him or nothing against the track. I had family ties going on this year, and I just couldn't race.
That's part of having a young family or any kind of a family.
And I think part of the time too is the drivers and everybody, they get in kind of a little groove to where they're doing the same thing. Like you say, you're racing there every week, so they get in a little bit of a doing the same thing every week after week after week. Like, well, being late, getting out for hot laps. Not, they know they're going to wait on you. So why hurry out there? If you go up and leave them one time or twice, maybe the guys will step it up a little bit next time, And
I'm not picking on anybody or
no,
anything.
it's just there's a lot of things that they can do.
I've heard them holler and holler and holler. Get up here. It's like,
and I know the late models are always the first ones out there.
I hate that.
And you guys end up going out there, and you end up packing the track for 15, 20 minutes before you get a hot lap.
You know how much our fuel costs per gallon? Do you have any idea?
That's part of the reason why a lot of them don't want to get out there right away. So, they end up waiting. So, So,
5 gallons
they
drum
could
of
fix
fuel is $51.
You could fix some things that way.
I know.
And we're out there packing the track with it. I'm like, okay, I'll do it, though. I'll do it. I'm out there doing it. I'm doing it.
Yep.
I'm thinking, can we put something else out here? They like our big fat tires to go with our big fat tummies.
Yeah.
That's what they like.
But it's so much better than the Sport Compacts out there with skinny tires rutting the track up. You got to admit.
I know.
I've been there and done that, followed them out afterwards. I'm like, Jesus, I can't
Why
believe
we
I
do
raced
this?
that class. Yeah. And in the Mod Light, if the track's halfway rough, you're like, holy cow. And when I was up in Nebraska, the track had 12-inch ruts in it. We were racing in the Sport Mod, and it was really rough. You wouldn't be out there in a Mod Light, but
we've seen some tumbles taken in those Mod Lights this last year. Some pretty wicked ones.
Yeah.
And
there's
what is
culprits there.
Is it I think part of it is the car tends to lean itself into that direction because it's so narrow, so short wheelbase.
Short wheelbase, yeah.
And they're getting better traction now than they used to.
We're figuring out how, with these shocks and stuff and the timing and stuff on it, we're getting them timed out now where we're getting tremendous side bite in the corner.
Sure you are.
And the night Danny rolled, tremendous side bite on the car. At the Clash the very first night out here, he came in on like the third lap and stood her up on 2 wheels going in the corner. And his timing, he just got on the gas too fast instead of letting the car rotate a little bit and break loose that little side bite. And he backed off, and it worked. But we're going to have that in the Mod Lights. You're going to have that they're a really, really soft tire on that promotes a ton of traction with a lot of side bite and a short wheelbase and a lot good roll center.
And you guys are figuring out your shocks and springs and getting it timed right to where she's biting, so it's going to happen.
Get your Sport Mod hooked up like that, you'll be a rocket.
Oh yeah, and before when we first started out in the Mod Lights, we were on Bilsteins, and they only give you boom, boom, boom. Well, we got hooked up with BSB and we started custom made shocks made to fit us. We called Jay and said, hey Jay, this is where we're at. Hey Delbert, this is where we're at. Oh well, we need to adjust this and this. What's it doing? Well, it's doing this in the middle of the corner. It's doing this. They'd fix us a shock to make it work for that track. And by God, it works, and it's huge. It really is.
Same technology in your Sport Mod.
Yeah. I picked up the phone and called them when I got the car, and I said, hey, I said, there's a couple things I want to change on the car. Shock-wise, it's on the car and what I want to do for it, and I think it'll make it better. And they're like, yeah, they made the stuff. I got it like a week later, and my shocks and springs, and I didn't end up putting the left rear shock on that I wanted to put on because Danny Lee looked at it and said, dude, you're nuts. He said, that's going to be a little more than what you want for where you're at right now this time of year. June, July, you're great, but right now it's a little much. And so I didn't change it, and he's right. I listened to what the kid got. He's smart.
He's a good kid.
He is.
Talked to him a couple of weeks ago in Walmart. Really good, down-to-earth kid.
Yep.
I like him a lot.
Yep. And he's excited about next year, with the things going on with his family and his mom and his brothers and stuff. And got a lot on his plate this year. Didn't even really want to be at the racetrack because he had so much eating up his mind. But when he did show up, he did work, he just dropped everything and did the job that he needed to do to get things done and had a really good productive year with that BMS chassis and the Mod Light both. And he said next year he's so excited to not have that extra car sitting in the garage that we got to work on. And, we're down to 2 cars instead of 3.
Sure.
And he said he's going to be able to help me more next year because, like, before we raced it and he could never see what my car was doing, now we're in different classes. He can get up there and see, hey, you're loose in the middle. Hey, you're tight going in. You're loose coming out, whatever. So I'm excited. I'm going to get some more help than what I've been having.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got some sponsors rounded up, put on that car for next year?
I already do have some really good sponsors. I got some new ones that came on. I'm super excited. My usual, Gans Brother Farms, Jason and Jacob Gans, they're gonna back on this year. They've been on ever since I got the very first car. So
Wow.
They've been with me since 2006, all the way through, never missed a beat. And but a really, really good one coming on this year that's helped me there in the mod lights and stuff and helped us a lot is Jeff Cyphers. I like that guy. He's
Good
awesome.
guy.
He's kind of like me. He doesn't have a filter. Tells you what's on his mind. It's all right. And if you can't handle it, and I'm sorry, you got thicker skin.
That's right.
And Cyphers is awesome. He told me the other day, and I cracked up. This is him to a T. He said, I like hanging out with you, Davidson. I said, why is that, Cyphers? He says, I can't think of a reason right now, but I'll get back to you with that.
Yeah, that's Jeff.
And just a great guy. It's a lot of fun to come around the shop. And so he's on, and I got several others, All Pack Battery said they want back on this year, and so I'm super excited, and so I'm ready to go.
Did you think when you first started out in the GO that you'd be racing this stuff?
No. When I was racing front-wheel drive sport compacts in 2008, me and my dad sat down in the stands up at Minneapolis and said, Dad, I think I'm going to go to a sport mod. And he said, you're drunk. Watch them guys beat and bang. He goes, are you kidding me, kid? And so we sat and watched the races. Well, I think I want one of them little cars there, And Dad said, you don't want a go-kart. And I said, I want one of those. And so then I got it. And the first time I went out on the track, I came in, I was all out of breath, and my neighbor kids were all hanging around the car, and I got out of the car, and I said, I think I made a bad decision. This car's a handful. Holy cow. And, it came on, and I'm really comfortable in it, and I've learned a lot going through the different years and playing with different stuff that I'm amazed at how comfortable I am as soon as I sit down in a sport mod. I really thought I'd be nervous and stuff, but I am really comfortable, and I think it's going to be good.
Have you made you some goals for the summer?
I like to win a race. I don't care when it happens. I want to win a race this year. That's one of my goals, and I don't know how feasible it is, but I'd like to make the A main at Boone, the big A. I mean, that's my bucket list. I want to make the big A. I could be cocky and say, I want to go out and win it, but I do. That would be phenomenal, but the chances of that happening are like slim to none. I know. I'm not stupid. And so I just try to set goals that I can reach, and I wanted to win an A main in the Mod Light this year before I got out, and I got her done, so that was a good deal. But my nemesis is Salina Speedway. I have not been able to win. I've won a couple Mod Light races out there a couple years ago, but the last 2 years I could not. Several seconds, not even run second to my driver a couple times out there last year. Not even a sniff of a first or second place out there this year. I think the closest I got was like 5th place out there this year. My setup on the car was off and just wasn't feeling it. So,
What do you think it was?
I don't know. I always said I never would get out of the Mod Light class. But by the first race this year, man, I was just not feeling it, and I was ready for something different, and I was leaning towards the sport mod already, kind of. And as the year progressed along, it pushed me more that way, and so I guess I wanted to go have fun again, and I wasn't having fun. So I mean,
That's why we do this, isn't it?
yeah, winning's one thing, but fun's the thing, and going out and having fun. And I went up to Nebraska and raced with those guys up there, and I had a lot of fun with my mod light. The 3 times I went up there, but I just couldn't seem to find that click and that fun out here in my mod light. And, I mean, even I took off the Clash. I was like, I'm not racing the Clash. Danny Lee wanted to go race it. Me and Tommy had some hard feelings. I wasn't going back with the mod light. And so I took Danny Lee out there. He wanted to race it. We had a sponsor that gave us $1,200. Danny Hill gave us $1,200, said, you bring that car back to the track and you go out there and compete. I'll give you $1,200 to fix all the stuff that's broke on it. So I used that money. We put it back together, and Danny Lee went out there and made a heck of a show. He won that very first night, and that was exciting to watch him win the heat and feature in the A mod and the mod light. Super exciting. But by the end of the night, it was like, would you want your car out here and race? No, I could care less about having my car out there, and I shouldn't feel that way about a car. Yeah. I should want to go race it and have fun. And it was just me. I didn't want to do it. And so it's time for a change when you get to that point.
Yep.
And you're going to tear up your equipment and somebody else's too, and it's not right. So,
also over the past 3 or 4 years in that class, the competition has stepped up a ton, I think. I mean,
the competition is
there's 7,
tough.
8, 9, 10 really good cars there every week, and you guys in that
and
mod light class.
Some of the guys that ran around that just couldn't get it done a couple years ago are out there producing. They're out there up front every night. And do they got these expensive motors? No, they just got good equipment. They're taking care of their stuff now, and they've learned, and they're getting the setup rights that fit them. And I've learned huge that if your setup's not right, it doesn't work.
And it doesn't matter. You know what's weird about setup is might be Danny Lee's setup, could be Mike Zerbeck's setup. Doesn't matter. It's got to be your setup. It's got to be what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You can get a baseline and start somewhere, but it's all about what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and Bud Lee's setup will kill you. I mean, it'll beat you absolutely to death. He's the toughest old guy I've ever seen in my life. I love that old man, but I've tried his stuff, and I mean, it reacts really fast, and it just is. I mean, on a rough track, it will beat you to death. And I can't drive his stuff. I've tried Danny Lee's setups, and they don't work. And I've called my buddy in Texas, Brian Henry, said, dude, what are you doing down there? And I've done his stuff. I've called my buddy in Nebraska. I said, what are you doing? I've tried their stuff. And you got to find what clicks for you. I mean, we can all find a neutral base and a starting point, but you got to find, what your driving style is. I talked to several drivers in this class who've tried Tyler Fry's setup, and none of them are as aggressive as him. They can't get it to work.
Right.
Yeah.
He drives in deeper in the corner. He's on the gas faster, whatever. Yep. Track condition, he changes, and it works for him. And that's the thing. You can take 5 drivers and stick them in the same car out there, and they're all going to perform different.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a tough lesson to learn. Because we'll sit in the stands and think we're rocket science. We can go out there and make the car fly. It's not as easy as it looks in the stands.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not.
No.
Yeah, the technology in the cars, I think, is kind of taking the fun out of it a little bit. I mean, way back when my dad was racing, you'd go up on your tire rack and, this tire's got the most tread. We'll put it on the right rear and put this one on the right front. And it ain't even close
ain't like
to
that
It
anymore.
ain't close to that anymore.
Were those leaf spring days?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, leaf springs. Yeah, you just go out and race and have fun.
Anytime.
Now you got to try to have fun, and most of the time we do, I believe. Yep.
Anytime anybody says something about leaf springs, I think the days back Smoking Joe used to run leaf springs in his mod.
Oh,
and
yeah.
was
Yep.
super fast.
Yep.
Back when he lived in Bennington over there by me.
Yep.
Yep.
And super fast. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
I kind of felt bad for him this year not being able to get his car figured out for him. And it just shows to show you, different cars perform different ways, and different drivers perform different, and not all things blend. He could go right back tomorrow and buy another Belleville Motorsport car and not have the same thing that he's got right now.
Right.
I mean, he's got to figure out what fits to him to make it work.
Yep.
And I hope he gets it figured out this year and gets a better performance this year.
Yeah, I know. That's
pretty
no fun
he's
when you
pretty
have
frustrated.
a year like that.
Yeah, he didn't have much fun this year.
No, he
really
didn't.
He's really frustrated there for a while.
He's been dominant for several years, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That makes it tough.
yeah. Oh yeah, and I see him out there, and I get frustrated for him some nights because he's just driving. You can see he's just driving. He's about to throw it plumb through the corner, just trying to get there. And I'm thinking to him, man, if I was you, I'd just drive it in the wall, get a new one. Maybe that'd fix it. I don't know.
That'd hurt, Brian.
Yeah, I know. But that's how frustrated I get. If my car doesn't want to work right, man. I've had those nights where I made 3 laps and pulled off. I said, this is junk. And changed it again. Went out the next week, made 3 laps, pulled off. This is junk.
I've lived those nights.
90% of it's a driver's seat, but I would admit it.
The driver's got to be comfortable.
You do. And, everybody thinks, getting her up on 3 wheels is awesome. Back in the day, that was cool, and that was the stuff, but it's not fast anymore.
I don't think it's fast. I don't think it's the fast way to run track.
That's why they put 4 tires on your car.
That's right. We're not racing tricycles.
You got to use them all.
I've only seen one guy that can do that week after week and be fast as Jimmy Gustin.
Yeah.
That's
right.
That guy drives crazy, but the average Joe can't do it.
Nope.
No.
I don't know what it is with those Gustins, but they can wheel race cars, can't they?
All of them, girls and boys.
Oh, I know. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, what's next for Brian?
I don't know. I'm gonna try this and see how it goes for here a year or two, and I don't know. I've got some goals, some things I want to do in life, but
sure.
Racing's still my bug right now, and it's been for a long time. Everybody says, I got a drag rail sitting in my garage. Everybody's like, you need to put that together and go racing. Straight's a drag. I just can't get into that right now. And, I've had a desire to build a 67, 68 Ford Fastback Pro Street, but I just can't seem to get that started yet either. So I don't know. I just want to keep going through life and not be that guy that crashes and beats on everybody every week. Just kind of be what they see as the fair guy.
Yeah.
And we'll see how this escapade leads me.
I think all of us have the desire to win, and we none of us want to go out there and run second.
Yeah.
But again, it's all about having fun.
Yeah. I want to do it legit. I want to do it legit. I don't want to cheat and go win, and I'm not wired that way. Will I push the gray area? Oh, you bet your sweet baby. If it's in the rules, black and white rules, I'll abide by it. But if it's not in the black and white rules, I'm the first one that's got it.
Sure.
If it's plus or minus a half an inch on a body dimension that's advantage to me,
it's plus.
I'm plus.
Uh-huh.
It's plus where I need it, and it's minus where I need
right.
it. You remember a couple years ago, I had the gray area car, and it was plus or minus all the half-inch body dimensions I needed where I needed them.
It started with the black car.
Yeah.
Why do you keep going back to that black car?
Yeah, but that's just the way it is, and we're always looking for an advantage.
Sure.
That makes it better for us and takes some of the stress off of us.
Sure.
To perform, but I want to do it legit, and I think IMCA is going to, the rules are stringent enough. They're going to protect everything, and everything's going to be legit. So I'm excited about that. Knowing that Tom, Dick, and Harry are on the same page as I am, and if they're not, they're going to get caught. But I've already learned my lesson in pointing fingers because I kind of laughed, when all these guys were getting busted with these boxes with this little. What they called the electronic deal that they put in there that determines the box Murray got caught with, and Sheriff it got caught with, or Shyrock got caught with.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They put the little deal in there, and it's not really cheating. It makes sure that box breaks. If it's set at 6,200 RPM, it breaks at exactly 6,200 RPM. But they say the factory MSD box has to break at 6,200 with a chip. You can't change that and make it perfect unless you go to a digital soft touch rev lip. And Murray had one of those in. He said he'd been running for years, didn't know it was in there. And I kind of laughed about it. I was like, that's funny, And I go up to my first sport mod race. I'm standing there talking to Tyler Fry, and he says something. And I said, yeah. I said, this distributor and this dyno boxer dyno tuned with each other. And he says, dyno tuned. And I said, yeah, they're supposed to be exactly what they're supposed to be. And he says, dude, you got one of those deals in your box. I said, how do you know? He goes, well, it'll break right at 6,200. He said, you're not cheating, but it's in there. I said, oh my God. I was just making fun last week about that deal. I better get that out of there. So, it can happen to anybody.
Sure.
It really can.
Yeah.
I think Dave's famous comment to me is know what you own.
Yeah. So I got on the horn, and today Danny Morrison Sr. was up at BMS, and he picked me up a digital Rev Touch. I just wanted to do it like I'm supposed to do it, and have the most that I can get out of my piece.
That's right.
Yeah. When you talk about know what you own,
you got busted.
We bought that motor over the winter
At Boone,
and over the winter they changed the rules to no titanium retainers. Had no idea they were in there until we finished in the top 4. Dave Bryn called us over. Hey, these ain't gonna work. So we were done.
bought a motor at an IMCA track. They changed the rules over the winter.
Yeah,
had titanium keepers or
retainers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember though when they changed that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we went and bought some steel ones and went right back out and did her again.
Found them with a magnet. I think
he was checking them with the magnet.
Yep.
But
yeah.
I think that's the first time. Brian says first time he'd ever been disqualified in all the years he'd been racing.
Leave it to our buddy Dave to catch him. Huh?
Yeah. But no, that was good that they check stuff like that.
How many wins did he get this year?
No wins this year.
Brian didn't have any wins this year?
Didn't get one.
He was right there all the time.
Yep.
I kept seeing him there.
Yeah, we were up there.
Had some good runs, that's for sure.
Had a good summer.
Yeah, he's a good shoe.
Gosh, he's been doing it a long time.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of, on our average, there's a lot of good A-mod drivers at the Salina Speedway. There really is. And but when they go over to Iowa, there's a lot of big dogs over there. And if we brought those guys to our Salina track with a home track advantage, it'd be a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
The Iowa guys that race mod lights over there, they come over to our track and they're like, wow, man, the dirt here is totally different consistency.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to Enid, Oklahoma and race on the red clay, it's a totally different critter down there.
Yep.
But
Bobby took me to Enid one time. That was a trip.
That's a fun place.
It's a fun
Been there
place.
A lot.
It's an old horse track. Are they still race horses there? Or?
I don't know. I didn't even know it was still open. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Is it still open?
I went down there a couple years ago with a mod light, and they said, yeah, everybody go out and pack the track. They called each individual class to come out and pack the track. Well, when I go out and pack the track, we just putter around, sunglasses and the ball cap on. And anyway, they call the first class to go out and pack the track. Man, they're out there just full race gear on, just balls out, just tearing it up. And, I mean, these holes show up in that clay track that are big enough you can park a Volkswagen in and not find it. And that's how they pack the track, and they hot lapped on the track.
Oh, they don't pack it like
they don't pack, dude.
Just
they
keep right on going.
Just got hot lap.
They blow all the stuff off the top, and what you got left is what you race on.
That's what you race on.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, see, that caught me this year, too. I went out to pack the track and just put my pants on and my fire suit on the bottoms and my shoes on. And I just had my T-shirt on and sunglasses. Mm-hmm. Well, we pulled in. Guess who was the first class to go out for hot laps?
You.
Uh-huh.
Did you hot lap in your T-shirt and your sunglasses?
No. Won't do that. Thought about it, but no.
Tighten the belts up a little tighter. It'll be all right.
Here we go. Suck it up. We'll be fine. It's just hot laps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've wrecked a car in hot laps. That ain't no fun.
Yeah. No.
So.
And that's the reason I don't hot lap. Everybody asks me, oh,
you don't?
No. If I put a new motor in, I'll go hot lap. And you're going to see that in the sport mod, too. I don't hot lap. Because I've seen a lot of stuff tore up in hot laps. Hot laps does not pay. If I don't make that heat race, I don't pay. So, and everybody's like, well, you'll find stuff broken in your car in the hot laps. that you wouldn't have found if you wouldn't have went out and hot lap. And I said, yeah, but you know what? If I go out and hot lap and run 10 laps or 5 laps and I blow up 5 laps before the A main's over, I'm really going to be pissed that I missed out on it. So, there's positives and negatives to hot laps.
Brian's thought about hot lapping is that, he don't care to do it either, but he knows that the track's going to be just that much racier, by the time the heat races come around, too. If you get guys to come out there.
I just go out there to put heat in everything. The gears, the transmission, the engine, just warm it all up, get it ready to go. I don't know that I've ever found anything in hot laps. By the time we get out there to hot lap, I'm the world's worst. Should we change this? You're like, no, leave it alone.
You're just out there trying to get the track ironed in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, appreciate you coming down tonight.
Thanks.
Really
appreciate
it.
Great
show tonight. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah, you were our guinea pig.
Yeah.
First night.
The guinea pig.
Good job.
Thanks.
I don't know when the next one is. We'll let you know. We're going to get here in a minute, get with David. Big thanks to Dave. Big thanks to Rusty here at Chuck's for putting us up this winter. It will be a little warmer for us, Bob.
Did we get some help with this thing that you need to talk about, or
working on it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you didn't get nothing.
Working
okay.
on it.
Okay.
Good luck to the guys out in Vegas.
I do have a birthday boy.
Go ahead.
Today's Joe Petty's birthday.
Is it really? That's right, it is.
Wish Joe a happy birthday.
Sure.
So,
Joe's been involved with racing for a long time.
Yeah, he has.
So, like I said, big thanks to Rusty. Big thanks to Dave Chevrier for putting this together for us. We'll be here all winter. We're going to do it every other week. We're in a different type of situation here. I don't know when the next show is going to be, but after that, it'll be every other week after that.
Everybody, I know we don't have much. Well, of course, the Duel in the Desert is going to be on Race Feed X, and I know we're going to be heading to the Blizzard Bash.
Are you this weekend?
Speak of this weekend. In fact, I'm going to leave here and go over and help Justin Montgomery kind of pack things up. They got to be there checked in at 9:30 in the morning for tech inspection. So
okay, so you're going to head over there.
They got stuff going. So.
Then, of course,
it's going to be a big deal.
A little later on in the year, a little, after January, after the holidays and stuff, the Chili Bowl starts up.
Chili Bowl.
Then it won't be too much longer. Then we'll have Daytona.
I always enjoy it when the Chili Bowl comes around, because then it's like Super Bowl football time, and then Daytona is just right around the corner.
And then we're getting close to getting racing.
Yep.
So.
Who you pick to win the duel in the A-Mods? Who you pick?
Pick what?
To win the A-Mods at Duel of the Desert.
Oh, gosh.
Bill?
This might be a long shot. It might not be a long shot, but I would like to see David Murray pull one off again.
Really?
David's a good guy. I like David. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see him win one again.
What the first thought that came to my mind, and I don't know why, honestly, just because I think he's had some tough luck, and I think if he's got a good car, he's a darn good driver. I think Blocklinger could pull it off.
Brandon?
Yeah, he's driving this year, so I think he can pull it off.
Yeah, that's. I'd say Blocklinger is my pick. Him or Jess Stovall.
Stovall be good.
Stovall's going to be there, and he'd be a good pick for that. But if Brandon gets back to his setup where he's been at in Boone, because him running BMS up there, he's always trying different things. So when everybody says, "Oh, Brandon didn't do very good," he was trying different stuff on his car.
Right. So
so he could pass it back to the guys. Hey, this works. This doesn't work. So I'd like to see him do good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, I felt so sorry for him that year at Boone when he was leading
my
all
gosh,
them
we
laps
gave
and
him
had the brake caliper come apart. That was
and then turn around like 3 years ago and let it for 3 laps. And that guy came from out of nowhere and passed him and won. And
I thought he had it. I thought he had it.
2 times, been right there. So, and they
be good to see it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, be real good.
Somebody from close to home.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, we'll see. See who picks up the win. Brian, thanks so much. Listen, that's going to do it for tonight. Dave, thanks a lot for putting this together for us. Really appreciate it. He's been here since 4 o'clock. Got to have a little meeting with him real quick, like before you leave, Bob. Figure out what our next show is.
I did have my family texted me and said they were watching and said it was going good. Yeah. So, good job, Dave.
Yep. Did a friend. He came down here last week and played with everything, get it all set up for us. So, got some sponsorship stuff in the works. We need some commercials for this thing to make it happen. So, it's fairly inexpensive. So, anybody wants to advertise on this thing, we'll be in touch with you pretty quick. So, thanks a lot, Bobby. Good job tonight. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate
Thanks.
it very much. See you soon. Good luck next year, okay?
Thanks. You too.
For Bobby Potts, Bill Grit saying so long. We'll see you here in a couple weeks.